My mother told me not to come to my sister's wedding. An hour later, she told our relatives I had refused to attend. By breakfast, the venue manager was asking why my name and signature appeared on a $48,000 guarantee. I had never signed it. My family had removed me from the guest list and kept me on the debt. 2 days later, I sat across from my mother in the venue office. Her message was printed on one page. The guarantee was printed on another. She kept calling both of them misunderstandings. I knew only one of us would leave that room still pretending. Before I tell you what happened, let me know where you are listening from. And if you have ever been called difficult for refusing someone else's bill, you will understand why I saved every email. Subscribe if you enjoy calm family stories where the truth has to do the shouting. My name is Claire Bennett. I was 31 that spring, and I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina. I managed vendor operations for a busy conference center, and my job was not glamorous. I compared contracts, caught missing fees, and made sure people paid the person they had actually hired. At work, being careful made me valuable. In my family, it made me useful. There was a difference. I had spent years pretending there was not. My younger sister, Megan, was 26. She was warm, funny, and able to make a room feel brighter, and she was also used to other people cleaning up the room after she left it. My mother, Elaine, called that creativity. Megan was not cruel by nature, even when my mother encouraged that double standard. That mattered to me. She could be generous when generosity cost her time, and she could be tender when tenderness did not require an uncomfortable answer. But when my mother set a direction, Megan usually stepped into the current and let it carry her. My father, Robert, was different. He avoided arguments with such discipline that it became its own kind of decision. He would lower his eyes, rub his thumb along his coffee cup, and say, "Let's not make this bigger than it is." Things were always small to him when someone else had to absorb them. I was the family fixer. I found the cheaper flight. I read the lease. I called the plumber twice, and I remembered the deadline and brought the extra copy. No one had formally assigned me that role. They had simply praised me each time I rescued them, then acted surprised when I got tired. Megan got engaged in October. Her fiancé proposed beside a lake at sunset. The photos were beautiful. By dinner, my mother had already chosen a season, a color palette, and a guest count. She called me the next morning. "We need your brain," she said. I smiled when I heard it. I knew exactly what it meant. They wanted me close to the problem, but not close to the choices. "What kind of help?" I asked. "Just the practical part, contracts, vendors, keeping everyone honest." I should have asked who would keep the family honest. Instead, I said I would come over Sunday. Their first planning meeting happened at my parents' kitchen table. Megan had a cream notebook with her new initials on the cover. My mother had a stack of bridal magazines. My father had a yellow legal pad and the cautious expression he wore before spending money. I brought a laptop and one rule. "I can help compare options," I said. "I am not signing anything and I am not covering a gap." My mother laughed. "No one asked you to." Megan reached across the table. "I know, I promise." My father nodded without looking up. "This is our gift to her." The sentence sounded solid. I wanted it to be solid, and I opened a spreadsheet. They said the budget was firm. They wanted a Saturday wedding for about 100 guests. They wanted dinner, music, flowers, and a place that would not need much decorating. Nothing about the plans sounded impossible. I suggested Oak Hollow, a restored brick venue outside Raleigh. I had worked with its manager, Daniel, during 2 corporate events. He was calm, precise, and known for calling before a small problem became a large one. That quality would later save me. At the time, his care only saved the family money. The following week, Daniel gave us a tour. The main hall had tall windows, warm wood floors, and a courtyard under old oak trees. Megan walked in and stopped breathing for a second. "This is it," she whispered. My mother heard destiny. I heard commitment. Those are not always the same sound. Daniel then explained the base package in plain language. The date required a deposit, the remaining balance was due before the rehearsal. Optional upgrades could be added later, but every addition changed the final total. My mother touched the back of a chair. "We understand." I watched her face. She was already placing flowers that were not in the budget. Because I had referred the family through a professional contact, Daniel sent me a one-page referral form, and it confirmed that I had introduced the client. It also stated that I had no financial responsibility for the event. I signed that page, then I emailed it to my mother, my father, Megan, and Daniel. I wrote one sentence above the attachment. "This confirms the referral only, not payment or personal liability." Daniel replied, "Correct." My mother answered with a heart emoji. I should have noticed how little a heart could confirm. For the first month, planning went well. Megan chose a simple menu. My father paid the deposit, and my mother found a florist who understood the room. I checked the cancellation terms and built a payment calendar. I felt helpful, not used. That distinction can be hard to see when you love the people asking. Then the guest list grew. My mother added church friends, and my father added former coworkers. Megan added cousins from her fiancé's side whom she had met once. The room could hold them, but the budget could not stretch without changing shape. I showed them the numbers. "You can add people," I said, "but something else has to come out." My mother leaned back. "We will find a way." That phrase had followed me since childhood. "We will find a way" usually meant Claire will find a way, and I closed the laptop before my face could answer for me. Over the next 3 months, the wedding changed one small choice at a time. No single upgrade looked dangerous. Together, they became a second event hiding inside the first. The simple bar became a premium bar. The basic chairs needed linen covers. The courtyard needed hanging lights. My mother decided the entrance looked empty without a flower wall. Megan wanted a late-night food station, and her fiancé wanted a larger band. My father wanted everyone to stop discussing money in front of him. Each request arrived with the same language. It was only a little more. It was a once-in-a-lifetime day. The promise was always that we would make it work. I updated the spreadsheet after every call, and the total kept climbing. My mother stopped opening the shared file. At first, I tried gentle reminders. "The upgrades are not covered yet." She would answer, "Your father knows." My father would say, "Ask your mother." Megan would send a photo of napkins and ask which shade looked warmer. The family had created a circle. Every question moved around it until it came back to me without an answer. One Saturday, my mother and I met the florist at Oak Hollow, and Megan was supposed to come, but she texted that she needed a quiet morning. My mother did not complain. She handed me a folder and said, "You know what she likes." The florist showed us a modest arrangement for the ceremony arch. It was soft, simple, and within the plan. My mother pointed to a photograph of a ceiling installation covered in white flowers. "What would something like that cost?" she asked. I answered before the florist could. "Too much." My mother smiled as if I had made a joke. "We are gathering information." The florist gave a range, my mother nodded thoughtfully, and I closed the sample book. "We are not adding that." Her smile disappeared. "You are not the bride." "No, I am the person you asked to track the budget. Tracking is not the same as deciding." That was the first time she said the quiet part out loud. She wanted my labor without my conclusions. On the drive home, she sat beside me and stared through the window. Then she said, "You have always had trouble letting Megan have her moment." The accusation was so old that it almost felt familiar. Megan had received awards, elaborate birthdays, and family attention without resistance from me. Yet any limit I named became jealousy. "This is about money," I said. "It is about your tone." "My tone is not on the invoice." She turned toward me. You always need the last word." I drove the rest of the way in silence. I was angry, but I was also embarrassed, and a part of me still believed that a better explanation would make her fair. That belief was my mistake. At work, I would have stopped the process. I would have documented the change, named the risk, and required approval. With my family, I kept translating facts into softer words. I told myself the wedding was temporary. I told myself Megan would remember the help. I told myself my mother was stressed. Stress can explain a sharp sentence. It does not explain a pattern. I knew that professionally, and I refused to know it personally. By January, Oak Hollow sent a revised estimate. The total had reached $48,000. I read the number twice. That was the only number that mattered from then on. It covered the venue, food, bar, rentals, and every upgrade my mother had approved in pieces. It did not include a cushion for damage. I forwarded the estimate to the family. My message was direct. The current event total is $48,000. Please confirm how the full amount will be paid. I will not serve as a payer, signer, or guarantor. My father replied first. We are handling it. My mother called instead of writing. Why would you put that in an email? Because it needs to be clear. It makes us sound irresponsible. The total is almost twice the first plan. She lowered her voice. Megan can hear you. Megan should hear me. It is her wedding. My mother ended the call. 2 minutes later, Megan texted, Can you please stop scaring Dad? I stared at the message. My father had approved the spending. I was the one scaring him by reading it aloud, and I called Megan. Do you know how this is being paid? She sighed. Mom said they have it. Have you asked? Why are you interrogating me? I am asking one question. It feels like you want the wedding to fail. That sentence landed harder than my mother's comments. I had spent months trying to prevent exactly that. I could have stepped away then. I should have. Instead, I said, I want the promises to match the money. Megan softened, then help us get through it. I heard what I wanted to hear. I mistook dependence for trust. A week later, Daniel called about a missing insurance selection, and the family had chosen a package but had not returned the form. I told him to contact my mother. He paused. Are you no longer coordinating? I was never the coordinator. I was helping. Understood. There was no judgment in his voice. That made me feel worse. I knew exactly how the arrangement looked from outside. I sent one more group email. I listed the open items, and I repeated that all financial decisions belonged to my parents and Megan. Then I wrote, Please remove me from vendor approvals going forward. My mother replied within a minute, Noted. The word looked clean. It did not mean she accepted the boundary. It meant she had seen it. For 2 weeks, no one asked me for help, and the silence felt like punishment and relief at once. Then Megan invited me to her dress fitting. She hugged me in the shop. She asked me to zip the dress and told me she could not imagine the day without me. I wanted to believe that moment more than the emails. Families survive on that kind of selective memory. At the shop, the dress was elegant. Megan looked happy. My mother cried before the consultant finished pinning the hem. When Megan stepped onto the platform, she turned to me. Tell me the truth. You look beautiful, I said. My mother dabbed her eyes. See? Claire can be supportive. The consultant looked down, and Megan pretended not to hear. I smiled for the photograph. Later, I would notice that my mother's hand rested on Megan's shoulder while mine hung at my side. At the time, I only noticed that I was still in the frame. After the fitting, my mother asked me to ride with her. She said she needed help with one small thing, and the small thing was a new contract addendum. It added valet parking and extended the reception by an hour. I already told you I am out of approvals, I said. I am not asking you to approve it, just check it. Who is paying for it? She gripped the steering wheel. Why do you keep making money ugly? Money is not ugly, hiding it is. She pulled into a grocery store lot and stopped. Your father and I gave you everything we could. The argument had moved from the wedding to my childhood. That was how she made a current boundary feel like an old debt. You raised me, I said. That was your responsibility. Her face hardened. Megan would never talk to me like this. No. Megan asks me to do it for her. I regretted the line as soon as I said it. It was true, but it was sharp. My mother used my regret like an open door. She began to cry, but not loudly. She knew quiet tears made me work harder. "I wanted one happy day for your sister," she said. "I thought you could help without keeping score." I almost apologized. Then I saw the unsigned addendum on her lap. At the bottom was a blank line labeled Financially Responsible Party, and I pointed to it. "Who goes there?" She folded the paper. "We will handle it." That answer was the beginning of the end. 6 days before the wedding, my mother called at 7 in the evening. I was eating soup at my kitchen counter and answering one last work email. Her voice was careful. "Claire, we need to talk about Saturday." I set down my spoon. "What happened?" Nothing happened. That is the point. Megan needs calm. I waited. My mother took a breath. "She does not want drama at the wedding." The sentence felt rehearsed. "What drama?" Questions, corrections, that look you make when you think someone is being foolish. "I have not been involved for weeks. Your presence changes the room." I looked at the refrigerator, and Megan's save the date was still held there by a blue magnet. My name was written on the envelope in her own hand. "Are you telling me not to come? I am telling you what your sister needs. Put Megan on the phone." "She is overwhelmed." "Then have her call me." My mother became firmer. "Do not make this harder. Be gracious for once." The words "for once" can erase years of effort when they come from the right person. I asked one final question. "Am I invited to my sister's wedding?" There was a pause. "No," she said, "not if you are going to bring this energy." I did not raise my voice, and I did not plead. I said, "Understood," and ended the call. My hands shook after the screen went dark. The soup smelled too strong. I carried it to the sink and poured it away. I called Megan. It went to voicemail. "Mom just told me not to come," I said. "I need to hear from you whether that is your decision." I waited an hour, no answer. At 8:15, a message appeared in the extended family group, and my mother had written it. "We are heartbroken that Claire has chosen not to attend Megan's wedding. We respect her decision and hope she can work through the feelings that made this day difficult for her." I read it 3 times. The lie was polished enough to sound compassionate. Below it, an aunt wrote, "So sad." A cousin added a broken heart emoji. My father wrote nothing. Megan reacted with a small white heart. That heart hurt more than my mother's paragraph. It was not silence, it was approval. I typed a response, then I deleted it, and I typed another. That is not what happened. I deleted that too. For most of my life, my mother had won arguments by making the public version sound nicer than the truth. I knew that an angry reply would become proof of the drama she had predicted. So I took a screenshot. I saved the voicemail I had left Megan, and I put my phone face down. At 9:30, my father called. "Your mother is upset," he said. "I am not coming to the wedding. Maybe that is best for now." "Did Megan ask for this?" He exhaled. "Everyone is under pressure." That is not an answer. Do not turn this into a trial, Claire. They told the family I chose not to come. You know how messages get worded. "Yes, I do." He lowered his voice. "Let the wedding happen. We can sort out feelings afterward." I looked at the save the date on my refrigerator. "You already sorted me out of the wedding." He did not deny it. Before hanging up, he said, "Please do not contact the vendors." That sentence stayed with me. "Why would I contact them?" I asked. "No reason. Your mother just wants clean lines this week." The line was not clean, it was glowing. After the call, I opened my laptop. I searched my email for Oak Hollow. The newest message was from 3 weeks earlier. It confirmed that I had been removed from routine planning updates, and I checked the shared spreadsheet. My access had been changed to view only. I checked the vendor folder. Several recent files were missing. I told myself not to invent a crime because my feelings were hurt. I closed the laptop and went to bed, and I barely slept. At 7:40 the next morning, my phone rang. The screen showed Daniel from Oak Hollow. I sat up. Good morning. Claire, I am sorry to call early. Do you have a minute? His tone was professional but slower than usual. Yes. I am doing final verification for Saturday. I need to confirm the personal guarantee attached to the Bennett event. The room went still. What personal guarantee? There was a short pause. The one in your name. I pushed the blanket away. I did not sign a guarantee. Daniel did not argue. That is why I called. He explained it simply. The venue had received a signed event agreement from my mother's email. The agreement named me as the person responsible for the unpaid balance and damage. The signature looked handwritten, not completed through the venue's usual electronic process. The total obligation listed on the agreement was $48,000. I could hear my own breathing. Send it to me, I said. I will. I have placed the document on hold. What does that mean for the wedding? It means I need a valid responsible party before Friday at noon. The family can pay the remaining balance, sign a new guarantee, or reduce the event to what is already covered. Friday at noon, one deadline, 2 days away, and if they do none of that, we cannot provide the full event as contracted. He did not say cancel. He did not need to. The email arrived while we were still on the phone. I opened the attachment. My full name appeared on the first page. My home address appeared below it, and my job title was listed beside the words personal guarantor. On the last page was my signature. For 1 second, I doubted myself. The shape was familiar. The long first stroke in Claire leaned exactly the way mine did. Then I saw the small break in the final line, and I knew where it came from. I opened the referral form from October. The signature was not merely similar, it was identical. My mother had copied it from the page that explicitly said I had no financial responsibility, and the cruelty of that detail was almost elegant. Daniel, I said, I can prove where the signature came from. Send me the original. I forwarded the referral form. Then I forwarded my January email stating that I would not be a payer, signer, or guarantor. He read them while I stayed on the line. Thank you, he said. Do not contact anyone on my behalf. I will document the dispute. Did my mother know you would call me? She asked whether direct confirmation was necessary. I closed my eyes. What did you tell her? That it was. That was why I had been removed from the vendor emails. That was why my father told me not to call anyone. They knew the question was coming. I asked Daniel to send every communication that included my name. He said he could send the documents addressed to me, but not private family messages. That was fair. Before we ended the call, he said, Claire, you are not responsible for a document you did not sign. But I need your written statement today. I will send it. I hung up and sat on the edge of the bed. The public lie had hurt, and the contract changed the scale. My family had not only excluded me. I printed 3 pages, my mother's message, the referral form, and the guarantee. On the first page, I was too disruptive to attend. On the third, I was responsible enough to pay. I laid them across my kitchen table, and for the first time, the whole pattern fit in one frame. I sent Daniel a short written statement before 8:30. I said the signature was not mine, I had not authorized anyone to use it, and I did not accept responsibility for the event. Then I called my mother. She answered on the first ring. I cannot do this today. Daniel called me. Silence, I continued. He sent the guarantee. Her voice changed, the softness disappeared. We were going to explain. When? After the wedding. After I became responsible for it, you would not have become responsible. Your father and I are paying. Then why is my name on the agreement? The venue wanted extra security, so you forged my signature. Do not use that word. What word would you prefer? It was a copy. We already had your permission to help with the venue. No, you had a referral form that said the opposite. She spoke quickly now. Nothing was going to happen. The balance will be paid. The wedding will be beautiful. You are turning a technical solution into a moral crisis. I looked at the documents on my table. You copied my signature onto $48,000 of liability because you left us in the middle of planning. I left vendor approvals after you ignored the budget. You made everything tense, and your answer was to use my name without asking. Her voice rose. My answer was to protect your sister's wedding. There it was. Protection for Megan could include harm to me, and my mother saw no contradiction. Did Megan know? I asked. Leave her out of this. Did Dad know? Your father signed what he needed to sign. That is not what I asked. My mother inhaled sharply. We are coming over. No, we need to speak in person. I said no. She ended the call. 20 minutes later, a car door slammed outside my house. My parents stood on the porch. My father carried a folder. My mother carried nothing, and she never needed props when she believed the room belonged to her. I opened the door but did not step aside. I told you not to come. We are your parents, my mother said. That is not a key. My father looked toward the neighboring house. Can we please go inside? I should have kept the door closed. Instead, I let embarrassment make the decision. Letting them inside was my second mistake. They sat at my dining table, where the 3 printed pages were still waiting. My mother glanced at them and looked away. My father set down his folder, and he began with the tone he used for bank appointments. There has been a misunderstanding. No, I said, there has been a copied signature. He rubbed his thumb along the folder edge. The venue required another responsible name because the event expanded. Then one of you should have signed. We already have obligations tied to the event. That is what signing means. My mother leaned forward. You have a stable job and excellent credit. No one expected you to pay $1. I stared at her. You used my credit because yours was not enough. That is not fair. It is exact. My father opened the folder. Inside were bank statements and a printed payment schedule. He turned them toward me. I did not read the balances. Why are you showing me this? To prove we can handle it. Then remove my name. We need until after the wedding, he said. My mother added, 3 days, that is all. I had spent months hearing that every upgrade was small, and now the forgery was temporary. They reduced every boundary to size and duration, as if brief harm was not harm. What happens if a guest is injured? I asked. What happens if there is damage? What happens if a payment fails? My father frowned. Daniel said the insurance covers most incidents. Most is not all. My mother slapped her palm lightly against the table. Nothing is going to happen. Something already happened. She looked at me with open frustration. Why can you never let a family mistake stay a mistake? Because you planned this. We were under pressure. You removed me from the wedding last night. Her eyes flicked toward my father. That was separate. No, it was useful. My father said my name in warning. Claire. You needed me away from the venue. You needed me quiet until the deadline passed. My mother stood. That is absurd. Then why did Dad tell me not to contact the vendors? My father looked down, and the room changed. It changed only a little, but it changed enough for me to turn toward him. You knew Daniel might call. He did not answer. My mother did it for him. We knew the venue had procedures. You knew. Your father knew we used the referral signature. He did not design it. My father flinched at the word design. I had expected him to deny everything. His shame was worse. It confirmed he had understood the plan and chosen comfort, and he finally spoke. Your mother said it was only a backup. A backup for what? For any gap. Whose gap? He closed the folder. My mother moved beside him. This interrogation is exactly why Megan does not want you there. The cruelty was so direct that I almost laughed. She had created evidence of my right to ask questions, then used the questions as evidence against me. I pointed to the door. Leave. She did not move. Sign a fresh page. We will destroy the other one. Then everything will be clean. My father looked at her. That request surprised even him. You came here for a new signature, I said. We came here to fix the process. You came here to make the forgery valid. Stop saying that. No. For the first time, my mother looked uncertain, and she was used to my anger arriving with guilt. This time, the guilt had not caught up. She changed tactics. Think about Megan walking into an empty room because her sister wanted to prove a point. The room will not be empty, it may be smaller. People will know. They should know who ordered what. My father stood slowly. We cannot replace the guarantee by Friday, then reduce the event. My mother stared at me. You would humiliate us in front of everyone. I did not sign the upgrades. You helped choose the venue. I introduced you to a business. I did not offer myself as collateral. She picked up the guarantee. I took it from her hand. That copy belongs to me, I said, her face tightened. You are enjoying this. I felt tears rise, and I hated that she saw them. I am missing my sister's wedding. Do I look like I am enjoying it? For a moment, no one spoke. My father looked at the save the date on the refrigerator. He looked older than he had the day before. Come to the wedding, he said. Let us settle this and come. My mother turned toward him. Robert, he ignored her. We can tell Megan it is resolved. I shook my head. An invitation offered in exchange for debt is not an invitation. His face folded in on itself. My mother walked to the door. When this falls apart, remember that you chose paperwork over your sister. I followed them to the porch. You chose my signature over asking me. She stepped outside, and my father paused. I am sorry you found out this way, he said. It was the kind of apology that leaves the act untouched. I am sorry you did it, I replied. He left. When the car disappeared, I locked the door. Then I sat on the floor of the entryway and cried harder than I expected. I was not crying over the contract alone. I was crying because my parents had arrived with papers proving they had planned to keep using me. I was crying because my father had apologized for discovery, not betrayal. Most of all, I was crying because some part of me had still expected them to choose me once the truth was visible. They had seen it. They had asked for a cleaner signature. After my parents left, I called Daniel. I told him they had asked me to sign a replacement guarantee. He was quiet for a moment. Did you sign anything? No. Good. I am documenting that request. He asked whether I could meet at Oak Hollow on Friday morning, and my parents and Megan would be there. He wanted every responsible person to hear the same options before the noon deadline. I agreed. Then I asked a question I had avoided. Can the wedding still happen without me? Yes, he said, but the family must choose an event they can support. The answer should have relieved me. Instead, it made the guilt more complicated because my decision would not destroy the wedding. It would force the wedding to match reality. That should not have felt cruel. And in my family, reality had always been the person no one invited. By noon, relatives began calling. My mother had updated the family group. She wrote that an unexpected contract issue threatened the wedding and that I was refusing to help resolve it. She did not mention my copied signature. She did not mention the ban. She described me as both absent and responsible, while an aunt left a voicemail. Whatever happened, do not punish Megan. A cousin texted, you can be right after the wedding. That sentence stayed with me. It assumed truth had a schedule and my consent could be borrowed until the photographs were finished. I sent one reply to the family group. I did not choose to miss the wedding. I was told not to attend. I also did not sign or authorize any wedding guarantee. I will not discuss private documents in this chat. My mother called immediately. I let it ring. She posted again. There are two sides to every story. I did not answer. At 3, Megan finally called, and her name on the screen brought back the dress shop. I remembered her hand reaching for mine. I remembered her saying she could not imagine the day without me, and then I answered. Did you ask Mom to exclude me? Megan was crying. Can we not start there? We have to start somewhere. She took a shaky breath. I said I could not handle another fight at the wedding. What fight? You and Mom, the budget, the looks, all of it. So you told her not to invite me. I said maybe it would be calmer. The wording was soft, the choice was not. I sat at my kitchen table. The 3 documents remained in front of me. Did you know they put my name on the guarantee? Another pause. Megan, I knew Mom was using your referral paperwork. My fingers went cold. Did you know she copied my signature? She said it was temporary. That was the 3rd person who had used the word as if time erased consent. Why did you not call me? Because you would say no. There are answers that end an argument, that one ended an illusion, and Megan continued quickly. We thought the balance would be paid before anything mattered. Mom said the venue only needed a strong name on file. My name? You have good credit. So does a stranger. Why not use theirs? Do not be mean. I closed my eyes. I am not being mean. I am asking why my sister let our mother forge my signature. She did not forge it. She reused it. The phrase sounded borrowed. My mother had given everyone the same vocabulary. I looked at the message banning me. Why did you want me away from the wedding? I told you, I cannot handle drama. No, why this week? Megan began to cry harder. For a moment, I almost comforted her, and habit moved faster than anger. Then she said, Mom thought you might talk to Ben's parents about the money. Her fiancé's parents believed my parents had paid the full wedding cost. They had offered to split the event early in planning. My mother refused. She wanted to present the wedding as her gift, and now the image mattered more than the funding. So this is about appearances, I said. It is about not embarrassing Dad. By making me responsible in secret, no one was supposed to know. I was supposed to know. It is my name. Megan's voice sharpened. Why do you have to make every mistake a character test? Because you all keep asking my character to pay for your mistakes. She went silent. I heard a car horn on her end. She was probably outside a bridal appointment, living inside the week she had protected from me. Finally, she said, can you leave the guarantee in place until Sunday? No, please. After the wedding, we will remove it. Daniel already removed it from active approval, she gasped. You called him. He called me. You could have waited. Until after the deadline, until after my wedding. I stared at the photograph on the save the date, where Megan and her fiancé were laughing beneath autumn trees. I had helped her choose that picture. You knew I was not invited, I said. You knew my signature was on the debt, and you still wanted me to stay quiet until the party was over. You make it sound horrible. It is horrible, she whispered. I just wanted one day. My answer was soft. You wanted my name for the day. You did not want me. She started to say something, but I ended the call. That was the moment my guilt changed shape. It did not disappear. It stopped pointing at me, and I opened the family group again. I almost uploaded the guarantee. My thumb hovered over the attachment button. Public proof would have felt powerful. It also would have turned the next 2 days into a spectacle. I did not want revenge. I wanted my name removed and the lie corrected, so I closed the chat. That evening, I made one mistake. I emailed Daniel and asked him to give me until the next morning before finalizing my written refusal. I told myself I needed time to think. The truth was that Megan's crying had reached the old part of me that believed love meant absorbing the emergency. Daniel replied, the document remains disputed. I will wait for your final statement until 9 tomorrow. I did not sleep much. At midnight, I opened the original budget. I moved through every version of the spreadsheet, and each time the total rose, I had warned them. Each time, they had answered with reassurance instead of money. I opened my January email. The sentence was plain. I will not serve as a payer, signer, or guarantor. Then I opened my mother's message. We are heartbroken that Claire has chosen not to attend. They had rewritten my no as jealousy. They had rewritten their ban as my choice. They had rewritten my signature as permission. The pattern was not a wedding problem. The wedding had only made it expensive enough to see. At 2 a.m, I wrote my final statement. I do not authorize the use of my name, address, credit, or signature for the Bennett wedding. I reject the personal guarantee in full. I request written confirmation that I have been removed from every financial obligation connected to the event. I scheduled the email for 8, then I wrote one sentence for myself on a yellow note. Being reliable does not make me available for theft. The word theft felt severe. I left it. At 8, the message went out. At 8:10, Daniel confirmed receipt. He said the guarantee was invalid and would not be used, and the family meeting would proceed so they could choose a lawful way forward before noon. My decision was now formal. It could not be softened in a kitchen or traded for an invitation. My mother called 6 times, my father called once. Megan sent, "I hope you are happy." I was not happy. I was clear. Friday morning, I drove to Oak Hollow under a gray sky, and the wedding was 1 day away. The venue looked finished from the road, which was the cruel part. White chairs stood in neat rows behind the tall windows. Staff carried boxes through the side entrance. Nothing outside showed the argument beneath the floor plan, and I arrived 20 minutes early. Daniel met me in the lobby. He wore a navy jacket and held a thin folder. "Are you comfortable meeting with all of them?" he asked. "Yes. If anyone becomes abusive, I will stop the meeting." I appreciated the offer. I also knew I had to be the one who ended my role. Daniel led me to his office, and it was small and practical. A round table filled most of the room. A printer stood beside a shelf of labeled binders. Through the window, I could see the courtyard where Megan would be married, and on the table were 3 packets. One contained the original agreement. One contained the reduced event options. The third contained my statement disputing the guarantee. Beside it, I placed my mother's message banning me from the wedding. The other page was my January email refusing financial responsibility. The door opened at 9. My father entered first, and he looked tired. Megan followed in a white sweater and no makeup. My mother came last, carrying the cream wedding notebook. She saw me and stopped. "I thought this was a business meeting." "It is," Daniel said. "Claire is named in the disputed document." My mother sat across from me, and Megan chose the chair beside her. My father sat between them, though there was not enough space for him to disappear. Daniel closed the door. He began calmly. "The purpose of this meeting is to resolve the financial authorization for tomorrow's event. The personal guarantee submitted in Claire's name has been rejected by Claire. It will not be used." My mother held up one hand. "Before we start, I need to correct that language." Daniel looked at her. "Which language?" "Rejected sounds hostile. This is a family misunderstanding." I felt the old pull to explain. I let the silence remain. Daniel said, "Claire states that she did not sign or authorize the document. That is not a misunderstanding for our records." My mother's mouth tightened. "We used a signature she had already provided for the wedding. For a referral form," I said. She looked at me. "You agreed to help. I agreed to introduce you to the venue. You did much more than that. None of it included a guarantee." Megan pressed both hands around a paper cup. "Can we please focus on saving the wedding?" Daniel turned a page. "The wedding can proceed. The question is which version can proceed." He showed them the options. They could provide cleared payment for the full event. They could name another approved guarantor or remove the unpaid upgrades and use the amount already covered. My father looked at the reduced plan. "What exactly comes out?" Daniel listed the premium bar, valet service, flower wall, late-night food, and extra reception hour. The ceremony, dinner, music, and standard bar would remain, and Megan's eyes filled. "That is almost everything we added." "Yes," Daniel said. My mother pushed the packet away. Those items were approved. They were approved based on a guarantee that is not valid. We have already paid a substantial amount. And that amount still supports a complete event. "A stripped event," my mother said. Daniel did not react. "A contracted event within the funds available." My mother turned to me. "Is this what you wanted?" The room seemed to wait. "I wanted my name removed." "You knew removing it would do this." "I knew using it had allowed this." She opened the cream notebook. Inside were schedules, vendor cards, and color samples. She pulled out a seating chart. 100 people are coming tomorrow, she said. Megan's new family will be there. Our friends will be there. Do you understand what they will see? A wedding. They will see what is missing. Then tell them why it is missing. Megan looked up. You want everyone to know? I want no one to say I caused a problem by refusing something I never agreed to. My mother laughed once. There it is, your reputation. I glanced at the group message on the table. You brought my reputation into this before I knew there was a contract. My father leaned forward. Claire, we can fix the family message later. No, you always want truth later. He looked down, my mother tapped the seating chart. Sign for one day, we will pay the balance after the gifts are counted. Daniel interrupted. Wedding gifts cannot be represented as guaranteed funds. She turned on him. I was speaking to my daughter. My answer came first. No, you have not even considered it. I considered it all night. Megan wiped her cheek. You said you needed time. I needed time to stop confusing guilt with responsibility. My mother closed the notebook. You are choosing a principal over your sister. I placed the exclusion message in the center of the table. You told me not to come. We told you not to create conflict. You said I was not invited, because you would not stop challenging every choice. I placed my refusal email beside the message. I also told you in January that I would not sign or guarantee anything. My mother glanced at it. Emails are not family conversations. They become family conversations when you copy my signature. Daniel slid the guarantee forward, and the signature sat at the bottom like a small dark trap. My mother did not look at it. I placed the referral form beside the guarantee. This is where you took it from. Megan stared at both pages. Perhaps she had never seen them together. The two signatures had the same slant and the same broken final line. Even the tiny speck from the scanner appeared beneath my last name. My father whispered, Elaine. She turned to him. You knew. I did not know she could prove the source. The room went quiet. My father had meant to defend himself. Instead, he revealed what mattered. He had not objected to the act, and he had hoped the evidence would stay blurry. My mother straightened. Of course she can prove it. She keeps everything. The sentence was meant as criticism. Daniel looked at the pages and said, In this case, that was wise. My mother ignored him. Her eyes stayed on me. You have spent your whole life waiting to put us on trial. I shook my head. I spent my whole life trying to keep us out of trouble. By judging every decision. By paying attention. Megan spoke softly. Mom, you said Claire had agreed before she stepped away. My mother turned toward her. She did agree. She was in every meeting. I agreed to help, I said. That is not permission to use my name. Megan looked at me. You really never said yes. The question hurt because she had already admitted knowing I would say no. You knew I would not, I said. She lowered her eyes and my mother reached for the guarantee. Daniel moved it out of her reach. That document is part of the venue record, he said. Her face flushed. Are you accusing me of a crime? Daniel answered carefully. I am documenting an unauthorized signature. What Claire does beyond that is her decision. Everyone looked at me. I had not come to threaten police, lawsuits, or public ruin. I had come to remove my name, yet the possibility changed the air, and my mother finally understood that family language could not control a business record. I am not making a report today, I said. I am not promising I never will. My decision depends on whether my name stays removed and whether the lie about me is corrected. My father looked up. What lie? I turned the printed group message toward him. He read his wife's words. We are heartbroken that Claire has chosen not to attend. You knew that was false, I said. He swallowed. I did not write it. You let it stand. My mother snapped. This meeting is about the venue. No, I said. This meeting is about the same thing in two places. You removed my choice from the message, and you removed my choice from the contract. She stared at me. I slid the 2 pages together until their edges touched. You told everyone I chose not to be family that day. Then you used my signature because you needed my credit. You removed me from the family celebration, but kept me in the family debt." No one moved. Megan began crying without sound. My father looked at the floor. Daniel stayed still, giving the words room to land, and my mother recovered first. "You think that sentence makes you right?" "No, the documents make me right." Her chair scraped back. "Then enjoy your documents. When your sister remembers this day, she will remember what you took from her." I looked at Megan. "I did not take the wedding. I refused the debt. You knew she wanted those things. So did you. Wanting them did not create the money." My mother turned to Daniel. "Give us 1 hour. Claire will calm down." I reached for the dispute form. She saw my hand. "Do not." It was the first honest word she had spoken all morning. There was no pleas, no family, and no room left for misunderstanding. I read the statement once. It said I denied signing the guarantee and requested permanent removal from the account. It also said no future change could be made in my name without direct verification. My mother stepped around the table. "Claire, think." I looked up at her. "I have. You will not be able to undo this. That is why I am doing it." I signed the dispute statement. The sound of the pen on paper was small, the change was not. Daniel dated the form in words, copied it, and placed the original in the venue file. Then he opened the account on his computer. "Claire Bennett has been removed from all financial and planning roles," he said. "No balance is attached to her." He turned the screen so I could see my name marked inactive. The pressure in my chest released so quickly that I had to grip the chair. My mother stared at the screen. For months, she had treated my name like a resource. Now it was simply gone. Daniel turned to the others. "You have until noon to choose the reduced event or provide cleared funds. Without one of those choices, we cannot open the venue tomorrow." Megan looked at my father. "Can you pay it?" He did not answer. My mother answered for him. "We can move money." "From where?" he asked. She glared at him. He opened the folder he had brought to my house. This time, he looked at the pages himself. "We cannot cover the full amount today," he said. My mother whispered, "Robert." He shook his head. "I am not putting the house behind one day." The words surprised all of us, and for the first time, my father set a boundary before I paid the price for it. My mother looked from him to Megan. "So everyone is abandoning her." Megan flinched. "Stop saying that." My mother turned. "Excuse me." Megan wiped her face. "Claire did not abandon me. We told her not to come." The sentence was quiet. It was still the first public truth Megan had spoken, and my mother stared at her daughter as if betrayal had changed sides. Daniel pushed the reduced plan toward them. "This keeps the ceremony, meal, music, and basic reception. Staff can revise the room today." Megan read the page, her hands trembled. "Will the guests know?" she asked. "They will know what they see," he said. "Most will see a wedding." My father placed his palm over the signature line. "Take the reduced plan." My mother said no. He looked at her. "We do not have the money. We have savings. Not for this." She turned to Megan. "Tell him." Megan stared at the courtyard through the window. The chairs were waiting in rows. "Finally," she said, "take the reduced plan." My mother sat down hard, and Daniel handed the agreement to my father and Megan. They signed their own names, and that mattered. Their signatures did not punish them. The document finally matched the people making the choice, and Daniel printed a notice confirming that my guarantee was invalid. My mother watched him place it in my hands. "You got what you wanted." I folded the page once. "I got back what was mine." "Your money?" "My name." She looked toward the door. "Are you coming tomorrow now?" The question was not warm, it was tactical. The room had changed, and she needed a new version. I looked at Megan. Her face was swollen from crying, and part of me wanted to rescue the day one final time. I could picture myself arriving, smoothing the silence, and standing in family photographs no one had wanted me in yesterday. That would have made the surface look better. It would have made the truth disappear again. "No," I said. I was uninvited because I would not stay quiet. "Nothing about that has been repaired." Megan whispered, I want you there. I wanted you to call before Mom did. She looked down. I continued, I love you. But I will not attend as proof that this was all a misunderstanding. My father closed his folder. What do you need from us? The truth in the same place where you put the lie. My mother folded her arms. You want a public apology. I want the family told that I did not refuse the wedding and did not agree to pay for it. That will embarrass Megan. Megan looked at her. The first message embarrassed Claire. My mother went still again. My father took out his phone and he opened the family group. His fingers hovered above the screen. What should I write? He asked. I did not dictate. Write what happened, he typed slowly. Claire did not choose to miss the wedding. We asked her not to attend after a disagreement. She also did not sign or accept financial responsibility for the event. Our earlier message was inaccurate. He showed the screen to Megan. She nodded. My mother refused to look. My father pressed send, and the message appeared on my phone a second later. There was no apology in it. There was no explanation of the copied signature. It was not everything. It was the truth, and it was in the place where the lie had been. That was enough for the moment, and I stood and thanked Daniel. My mother remained seated. My father looked exhausted. Megan looked as if the wedding had finally become real. At the door, my mother said, "You always have to win." I turned back. "No," I said. "I had to stop losing things I never offered." Then I left the office. Outside, staff were removing boxes from a delivery cart, and the flower wall panels went back into a van. A sign for valet parking was carried toward storage. The consequences were not dramatic. No one screamed in the courtyard. No wedding was destroyed. The event was becoming the size of the family's actual promise. For once, that promise did not include me. The next morning, I woke before the ceremony time. My phone held several replies to my father's correction, and most were brief. A few relatives apologized for judging me. One wrote, "We did not know." That sentence did not heal anything. It did return the burden to the people who had hidden the truth. I spent the day with two close friends. We walked through a farmer's market, ate lunch outside, and kept our phones in our bags. At the time Megan was supposed to walk down the aisle, I felt the loss, and I did not pretend otherwise. Love and access are not the same thing. I could love my sister and still refuse the role she had assigned me. That evening, Megan sent one photograph. She and her husband stood beneath the simple ceremony arch. The flower wall was gone. The room behind them was warm and full. Her message said, "The wedding happened." My reply was, "I am glad." Nothing more was needed that night. My mother did not contact me for several weeks. My father sent one apology. This time, he named what he had done. He said he knew my signature had been copied, stayed silent, and helped keep me away from the venue. I told him I appreciated the truth. I also told him trust would take longer than a message, and he did not argue. 3 months later, Megan asked to meet at a coffee shop. She came alone. She did not bring a request, a bill, or our mother. "I wanted your help more than I wanted your honesty," she said. "Then I punished you for telling the truth." It was the first apology that did not ask me to erase the consequence. I did not promise that we would be close again. I said we could begin with small things, but money would stay out of it. There would be no planning and no messages carried through Mom. She agreed. My mother still describes the wedding as a stressful misunderstanding. I no longer debate that version. She knows what happened, so do I. The written guarantee remains invalid. My name is not attached to any balance. The family message remains corrected. Those facts do not need her permission. I kept the save the date for a while, then I took it off the refrigerator and placed it in a drawer with the venue notice, not as a case file. As a reminder, for years, I thought being the reliable daughter meant standing closest to every family emergency. Now I understand something simpler. Help that requires stolen consent is not help. An invitation that depends on silence is not love. And a family debt does not become mine because someone already wrote my name on it. If this story reminded you of a boundary you had to defend, share your thoughts below. Sometimes the calmest answer is the one that finally leaves the right person responsible.